This is your man, the Aquatic Exotic, aka Saddler Ward, and my movie review today is called The Green Book, and it's based on the Negro Motorist Green Book, which was a guide for black people to get hotels, taverns, nightclubs, service stations, barbershops, and beauty parlors, written by Victor Green. But the movie goes into something else. So let's get down to that. So let's talk about this movie so y'all understand where I'm coming from. Let's go. This is a boring background review. I'm hemmed up. I've been hemmed up for the new year since all of December. I got another 2 months. But the lighting is cool. The sound is cool. And I wanted to talk to y'all a minute about the movie The Green Book. And I just want to break this movie down for y'all because I think I want to get this video out quickly. I want to bring y'all up to speed. I'll tell you a little bit more about it. But let's get down to the meat and potatoes of this movie before we get into who directed it and who made it. From the gate, man, I wasn't expecting much from this movie. It was a cute little preview. If you've seen the preview was enough for me to make me want to go see it. I really like Mahershala Ali. I mean, I really like him, man. You know, as Cottonmouth and in Moonlight. I just think he's an exceptional actor. I met him at the Santa Barbara Film Festival. I didn't get a chance to interview him, but I did get a chance to talk to him. And he's also in Roxanne. And I saw that. I saw his performance in that before him. He was like, wow, you got some juice. I haven't even seen that movie yet. I was like, see, I get around. And I was taken aback, you know what I'm saying? He's a strong brother, man. When I saw that interview with him, I might include some of that interview if I could find the footage. But I have one computer down and one computer up. So if I can't find the footage, I still have it. And if you want to see it, put the comments below and I'll see what I can find, see what I can pull up for you. But let's get back to the Green Book, man. Epic time. I had an incredible time. The Green Book is a book of locations where black musicians could stay in the South. And if you haven't seen the preview, he hires this bouncer, tough guy type from the Bronx to help him on his journey through the South. Mahershala plays a very accomplished black musician, Dr. Shirley. And this is based on a true story. The family is upset about their about the way that their uncle was portrayed in the movie, because it was a lot of white savior things going on in the movie. But I didn't mind it. I actually loved it. It was great to see the role reversal. You know, this guy, the Italian guy, was very macho, family guy, typical Bronx dude. The movie takes place in 1962. And he was what you call a thug. Bouncer at a bar. The Copacabana Club was the club where he worked. Meanwhile, Dr. Shirley, he lived on top of Carnegie Hall, and he was a very accomplished pianist. He studied Chopin and Beethoven, and from the age of 3, almost like a child prodigy. So he wanted to travel the world, and he did travel the world. He was very accomplished. Like I said, he traveled the world playing piano, but he wanted to do good in the South and help change people's hearts. And from some outside research, I actually found out that he was part of the civil rights movement, and they didn't really include that in there. Like, he was friends with Dr. King and other established scholars of the time, but they just had him as kind of an uppity kind of black dude, and the family didn't like the way they portrayed his uncle. But as an uppity black dude myself, I felt a connection to him, man. Like, he had never eaten fried chicken. He didn't know Aretha Franklin's music. He didn't know who Chubby Checkers was. You know what I'm saying? He had never heard their music. He didn't listen to secular radio. He was very classically trained, and his mission was to change people's minds about what it is to be a black man. And I think that's dope, man. And the Italian guy who was driving him, he was phenomenal also. You seen the growth between the two of them. You know what I mean? He was racist, but not overtly racist. Yeah, he was racist. He was racist. There was a couple scenes in the beginning of the movie. You're like, ooh, I don't know how this is going to work out. But they figured it out, man. Love found a way, bro. Key moment when you found out. This is a spoiler. I gotta do spoiler, man, because the movie's been out for a minute. If you're gonna go see it, stop this video now. Go see it. I recommend it. I give the movie an A, bro. I give it an A. I sat there and I felt good watching this movie, man. It was a movie about race and racism without pointing any fingers, without any blame. There was some forgiving in there. So I go see this movie. Now, if you saw the movie already, let's talk about it, man, because this was exciting, man. There was two black people at the dude's house, and they drank from the water in a glass in his house because they were doing plumbing work or flooring or something. And he wakes up, and there's like 10 dudes in his living room. He's like, what is everybody doing here? He's like, oh, we wanted to keep your wife for company. Pardon my Italian accent. And you look, and they're like keeping the wife company because there's two black men in the house. Even though he's asleep in the bedroom, they're like, nah, we ain't having that. It's the Bronx, 1962. Ain't no black people going up in her house. So that was crazy to me to see. They decided to watch the game at his house so that they could protect the wife. So as a host, she poured the gentleman glasses of water, glasses of lemonade, and the Italian dude, did not want any parts of them dudes in his house. He actually took the glasses and threw the glasses away in the trash because black men had drank from them. So when it's come time, you like, oh, I don't know how in the world he's going to work for a black dude. It was great. It was about growth. It was about him, the journey of the Italian dude. It was set around a black dude, but it was really the journey of Tony. Lip, I think his last name was. That was his street name because he said he had a lot of lip. He could BS anybody, and he could. He was a good BSer, man. So, but he was also nice with the hands. So he would knock somebody out if Mahershala had a problem, which was dope. And he did have a few problems. I mean, you take a tour going down south in America as a black man in 1962, you're going to have some problems. So it made me wonder, like, even in 90s, you know, what the Roots went through traveling abroad across the country, because you come across problems, man. State troopers, police, guards at TSA. You know, I wonder what modern day people have gone through, some of the people on tour, because I've traveled the country many times, and I haven't had any, knock on wood, I haven't had any real serious problems with racism or with police, thank God. But I'm sure the more you travel, the more higher your odds are. So it made me think about Black Thought and Questlove and all those great guys members of the Roots, because they genuinely are sweethearts of men, you know, without being soft or anything like that. Just generally good people. And a lot of times, good people get exposed to very bad people sometimes, especially when you travel as much as they do. They were probably the most traveled rap band. So it made me think about them. Because he was a classical pianist. And some of the places where he was set to perform, he couldn't even eat there. And they was giving him broom closets and coat closets for green rooms. Now, my wife is special, man. Because we went on the blues route, man. She wanted to see where the blues route ran. So I've been to some of these hotels that were in Mississippi and Kentucky and Utah and you know, Alabama. I've been to some of these hotels where only blacks could stay. They became legendary. And John F. Kennedy was a part of the movie. Nobody played John F. Kennedy in the movie. It was just more like a phone call, and it was implied. But unless it was looped. Looped means just phoned in. You could just hear the voice, but you couldn't see the actor who played John F. Kennedy. However, I stayed in a hotel, and if I can include the pictures, I will if I can find it. On the blues route, Red's juke joint or something like that. It was a beautiful man named Red that had a place where Aretha Franklin had stayed, John F. Kennedy had stayed there, Martin Luther King had stayed there, Bobby Kennedy had stayed there. I just took pictures of all this stuff on the wall. This room has so much history. It used to be a morgue because nobody, and it was a hospital, and like I think the plague had taken over the hospital, so no white people wanted it anymore because they felt like it was a haunted building. So he actually was able to buy the building and turn it into a juke joint, and it was a hotel. So there was a lot of these slum hotels that only blacks could stay during that time period because it was still, the nice hotels had white people only. So if you were a performer, you really knew it was only so many places down south you could stay. So all those people kind of knew each other from staying in the same hotels, getting to know each other, and it was just different times, man. You know, so somebody would book you for a concert in a hotel lobby, but you couldn't stay at that hotel. So that's deep in itself, man. So this movie dealt with the psychological effects of people wanting you but not wanting you to perform but not wanting you in their house, not letting you use their bathroom, and what that does to a man's psyche. And this Italian man was like his driver, but he had more rights than the actual black artist. And the movie is all about black and white race relations. It's from the director of Dumb and Dumber, and I think Something About Mary, a comedy director. So there was great funny moments in all throughout this movie, funny notes, but it's not a funny subject, so he kept it very serious. He kept it on point, man. And you know who stole the show for me? First of all, Mahershala's performance was incredible, and the white guy was kind of the lead, Vigo. He's a very well-known actor, and I noticed at the end credits, his name was before Mahershala. It's kind of arguable who got the most screen time, but you think the movie's about Mahershala, but it's really not about Mahershala. It's more about the journey this Italian man took. And when I watched the end credits and interviews on the movie that came on at the ArcLight, I recommend if you're in Los Angeles area that you see it at the ArcLight because they have an extra 8 minutes at the end that gives you a lot of insight on it. And the Italian man's son was one of the co-writers on this movie, and that was dope. So that made it make sense for me because I thought the movie was about a black guy, but it was really about an Italian guy who was on a journey with the black guy and his growth. The executive producer, this was Amblin Partners, which is a degree of Amblin Entertainment. So shout out to everybody at Amblin. That was dope. Octavia Spencer was the executive producer of this movie, man. I did not expect that. Shout outs to her. So, like, people like Monique and different women that aren't getting enough roles, you can bankroll a film and give yourself your own role. You don't have to wait for Hollywood, man. It's a different day, especially if you're sitting on a couple million, which I'm sure Monique probably is. You know what I mean? So, shout out to Octavia for taking the bull by the horns and executive producing this movie. I would love to hear a story about how that came about. So, back to the film itself. The tone was serious. It took place in the 60s. And the first time we see Mahershala, he's sitting up on a throne like a king. He has all these exotic trophies from all over the world. And the Italian guys, he grew up in the same neighborhood. He works, lives, and hangs out within a 2-mile radius. We all know people that never left the neighborhood. And he talks like this, and he uses the word butter. He cusses a lot. And Mahershala just demanded more from him. It was like, come on, man, you can do better. You can be better. And I preach that a lot. You could be better. My mother was orphaned at a young age. So she had no parents, but she had a house. So a lot of the other kids couldn't go over her house. Because would you let your kids go to a house that didn't have any parenting? No. So she had to carry herself at a higher level than the average kid because she felt she didn't want to be ashamed of herself, and people thought she was going to be a mess anyway because she had no parental guidance. But even up until the age of 11, 12, 13, 12, I think it's by the time she was by herself, they had instilled such rules in her that she decided to carry herself like a lady, and she didn't want anybody to think she was loose or unkempt or not. She didn't want anybody to feel sorry for herself, so she put herself in that pedestal. And this Mahershala's character was very similar because he got an early scholarship to a high school like a Juilliard. So he began to refine his character, and he got so refined that he no longer could relate with the black community. So here's the regular black community he couldn't fit into, and then the white community that wanted his music but didn't want him. So, and Tony came in as just your typical dude who didn't really like him. And keep in mind, this is based on a true story. You know what I'm saying? Based on a true story. Some of the events didn't happen. Some of them did. The family was very upset about the way like I said, their uncle was portrayed. And I say this to those of you who, somebody's going to tell a story. All right, so they had a famous uncle. Orpheus was one of his albums, Dr. Shirley. Very accomplished musician. But here comes the son of the chauffeur that wrote the screenplay, bro. If y'all wanted your uncle portrayed in a good way, then you should have just go ahead and wrote the screenplay. You know what I mean? You want to go to NPR and protest after the fact. And Mahershala called the family and was like, oh, I didn't know that he wasn't properly represented. I want to apologize to you guys as a family, as an actor, for not doing all of my research. But the question is, who does the research lie on? Mahershala is an actor, and he gave some notes. He did give some pushback, like a black man wouldn't say this or a black man wouldn't say that, which is dope because there was a part in the movie where they decided to have a drink together. And they were drinking Cutty Sark, which was neat, which was his drink of choice. And so when the Italian gentleman sat down and had a drink with him, he was saying how he really wanted to play Chopin and Beethoven. And the guy was like, well, you don't have to. But the record company wanted him to play a different style of music, because a black man would never be accepted playing classical music. And the Italian guy goes, yeah, but look what you do play. They love it, and you're the best player I ever seen in the world. This is amazing. And this is just a street guy, like I said. So his opinion isn't really, he doesn't have a refined palate, as they would say. So Mahershala made some critical choices when dealing with the director. He said, no, I will push back. He said, nobody could play Mozart like me. Something like that. I'm paraphrasing. But Mahershala did give input as an actor. But I don't think it's the actor. The actor should research his character. But it's not the actor's job to change the script. It's not. That's the director. That's the executive producer. Like, people want to work with people that want to work. You know what I mean? So notes. Yes, the actor can give the director notes, but the director is the boss at the end of the day. So it doesn't fall on Mahershala, even though he was kind enough to call the family and apologize for his performance. But his performance needed no apology because he's a G. And his performance was incredible, yo. Oh, man, you just love him to death. His character carries himself so regal, sit back, husky. Oh, my God, it was dope. From beginning to end, I laughed. I enjoyed this movie, man. As they go on a journey, they get deeper and deeper down south. And the further they go down south, the more worried you get for Mahershala's safety. You're like, how is this going to end? How are they going to get out of here, man? Let me see if I can find a couple clips. Let me look and see if I can find a couple clips of this so that I can share with you some of these rundown hotels, these dog-trodden, beat-up hooker hotels that he had to stay in while he'd be performing at these beautiful palaces for all of these rich people, man. The straw that broke a camel back was one. They had to make each date to fulfill their contract. And if they missed one date, all the money be out the window. And so it was very tough to see if they're going to make it to the next date. But the straw that broke a camel's back, it was like 2 days before Christmas. And it's this big performance. And they're like, you're the special guest. We roll out the red carpet. We're so happy to have you. This is our biggest show of the year. This is amazing and an honor for you to be here. And he had been driving all day to get there. Well, He had gotten driven all day. And they didn't want him to eat they wanted him to eat in a coat closet. They wouldn't let him eat in the restaurant. 400 people had bought tickets to see him, but they didn't want him to sit in the same dining room hall that they were in. Or sometimes they wouldn't let him use the bathroom. They had an outhouse out back, and he's in a tuxedo about to perform. He only performed on Steinway pianos, which are the best. I don't play piano, but that's what they said in the movie. So that was dope. And in his rider, if it wasn't a Steinway there, he knew that this wasn't a place for him. They had to have a Steinway as per his contract. He showed up to one place, and they had garbage in the piano. Garbage in the piano for his performance. It was like, you want it cleaned up? You clean it up. It was crazy, B. Wow. You know what I'm saying? I'm glad I live in the times that I do live in, but just watching what he went through and what he had to go through, and then the Italian guy being exposed to that. I think even it was a point where one of the cops even called him half an N-word. He called him half an N-word. And the town dude was like, he used to throw in his hands, punch the cop right in the face, knock the cop out. They got locked up. Crazy. That's the kind of brawler he was. Like, hit first, think second. But he was swift. He wasn't a slow dude. He just talked with his hands and talked like this. I have Italian family in my family. South Philly, man. Snyder Avenue, the Paranzinos, Bobby John, Gina. My Dominic was like my grandfather. So I always have a special place in my heart for Italian Americans, because I would go there every Thursday and spend time from 2 in the afternoon till 9 p.m. when my mom would come get me. This Italian man pretty much adopted my mom. Not as a kid, I told you she was abandoned, but by the time she got into her 20s, there's a place in South Philly called Dixon House. And Dixon House was like a community center, and he took a liking to my mom. My mom even got, my mom would leave and come from his house. Mary Paranzina was the mom, Dominic Paranzina was the dad, and they treated me just like their grandkids. No difference. They loved me. And one day my mom was leaving the Paranzina's house, and one of their Italian neighbors came up and was like, "Hey, miss, listen, we wanted to know how much Dominic and Mary pay for their housekeeping, because I'm looking to get a housekeeper." And my mom said to the man, "I don't know how much they pay for their housekeeper, but I pay $27 a visit." And his mouth dropped. Like, yeah, my mom wasn't the housekeeper, bruh. She was there visiting. You know what I'm saying? And these are the type of things. This was the 70s or whatever. So my mom always told me that. I remember my mom telling me that story. You know what I'm saying? They wanted to know how much he pays the housekeeper. She wasn't cleaning their house. She was there as a guest. And I was there because I was having trouble in math. And Dominic was a mathematician, and he would spend time tutoring me, helping this young black boy get his life together. So I always know in South Philly that sometimes it's tension, but in other areas like around Snyder Avenue, Goretti High School, you know, Newman High School, there's a beautiful relationship between a lot of blacks and Italians in South Philadelphia. And I'm sure the same thing exists in the Bronx. But at this point in time, it did not. So let's get back to this movie. Let me show y'all a clip.
To really teach what, or be a part of these conversations and sharing what Islam truly teaches. And people don't show up on campus for those things. They show up for the things where someone is hurt, right?
You and I have spoken about this movie a few times, and I was so fascinated to hear about the story behind the really great scene where you're teaching little Chiron how to swim. And there you guys are in the ocean with a director, Barry Jenkins, who does not like the water, with a young actor who could not swim, with a storm approaching, so the time was of the essence. Were they looking at you as to be the guy to keep it all going?
Whatever. I apologize for the background. We're going to get more exciting as the year progresses. I'm building my little set, my little studio. I could do it in a group studio, but I'd rather do these dolo. This isn't the kind of movie I would have seen with the group. I probably couldn't talk the group into seeing this movie, which for me is dope because I'm finding my own place as far as the type of movies I want to review. I've been so lucky, man. It's been a great end of the year, man. So I want to give y'all a couple other movie reviews, man. I saw If Beale Street Could Talk. So if y'all want to see that next, that might be my next review I'll probably drop. You know what I mean? I'm not just always going to do the blockbusters like the Aquamans and the Spider-Verses, man. I'm going to give y'all some movies with heart. And this holiday season, I've been lucky enough to get in The Favorite. So let me know which review y'all want to see next in the comments. Would you rather see The Favorite or If Beale Street Could Talk? But I'm dropping both of those reviews probably this week. I'm going to give y'all more in 2019, man. But back to the subject at hand, the Green Book. Peter Farrelly was the director, and if y'all know him, he's used to directing comedy, man. And he took a step back. Now, when actors do comedy and then they try to do something serious, a lot of times it doesn't work out. But this guy spot on, man. This is a buddy film with about two men who will probably otherwise never be buddies. You know what I mean? That, which is crazy. You know, Viggo Mortensen is nominated for Best Actor. Mahershala Ali, who plays the role of Don Shirley, aka Dr. Don Shirley. He's up for Best Supporting Actor role. I think this movie is up for 5 Golden Globe nods, and I didn't even know that. Like, my wife's aunt was like, "Yo, you might want to check it out," and I already want to check it out from the trailer. Problem with the trailer, you get most of the movie in the trailer. There's some nuances, a couple new moments that build up to it, but this is one of those trailers where they put all the best parts in the movie. But don't let that stop you from supporting this movie, because even though they give you some of the most powerful parts in that little 2-minute trailer, the build-up is what you're there for. The build-up to him trying fried chicken for the first time. The build-up for him not being able to eat in that main restaurant. The build-up of him writing the letters to Viggo. Tony Lip is Viggo's name. To Tony Lip's wife, Dolores Villalonga. Which Valleyonga, which is one of those Italian names that seems like nobody can pronounce in the whole movie. And look at me, I'm home in 2017, I still can't pronounce it. But this is a feel-good movie, man. If you want to go in and feel good about black-white relations, man. And if you know Viggo from Lord of the Rings, this is the last thing you expect. And if you know Mahershala from Moonlight, you know, you'll get it. But if you know him from Luke Cage, where he played Cottonmouth, and he was trying to get nice on the piano, so it's like, oh, if Cottonmouth had become that musician, this is who he could have become in my own twisted way, you know what I'm saying? So, like, I think Mahershala is probably a very skilled piano player. I don't see how you could fake that, like, the way his hands were moving, and as he was, oh man, it's just amazing to watch, man. He had the regal royal attitude, you know what I'm saying, that black excellence he comes across. And then, you know, it was role reversal, you know, with him trying to get the Italian guy, Viggo, to be, not Viggo, his name was Tony. He's trying to get Tony to be more sophisticated, you know what I'm saying, and raise his level up, man. This is Academy Award winning material. I'm putting my stamp on it. I don't think it will win. I don't think Mahershala's delivery of the key part in The Rain was, his acting was on point. All right, so that's what the awards are in, acting. And the screenplay is great. Do not get me wrong. The screenplay is incredible. But they would have had to hold the camera on him when he freaks out and says, "I'm not black enough for the black people, and I'm not white enough for the white people." When he goes into that, that's something that a lot of us, you know, black men, educated black men, deal with. He's in the rain. It's nighttime, and he finally breaks after being so strong. He breaks. And I don't think that they gave him enough lines for him to get the meat out of it. He was there. Delivery, he was there. But I don't think the line was strong enough to award him an Oscar. But he's worth the nom. This is his second nom. You know, he's on radars. I think we have a brand new star. You know what I'm saying? You know where Denzel was? That's where Mahershala is, man. You know, and not to take anything away from Denzel. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that in the beginning of Denzel's career, when he started giving these incredible performances, we had never seen that before. You know, he's trained on the stage. You know what I mean? Denzel put his work in New York on the stage at Fordham University. Okay? So he's got his acting chops in the theater, as they say. And Mahershala, he ain't, you know, This ain't no black acting school. Like, he's classically trained too. You could tell. And whether it be in the piano or just in acting, you can tell. It's a lot going on behind those eyes, man. And it comes across. So I think he'll get an Oscar nom. He might not win it. If he wins it, great. You know what I mean? He deserves it at this point. But he is a breakout star. And he's the one to watch. He's our next Sidney Poitier. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, man, the chemistry between these two gentlemen is just, you can't manufacture it. And the director, Peter Farrelly, was like, I knew I had the best two actors on the planet to play these roles. All I have to do from here now is not mess it up. And he didn't mess it up, man. He delivered. He delivered, man. So that's all I have to say. The quote from Mahershala Ali that was the most memorable for me was when they got in a fight with the police and they were locked up. He was like, "You'll never." He's like, "We don't have to be here. You never win with violence. You only win when you maintain your dignity." And he was trying to calm him down, man. And in real life, after this couple of 8 weeks, the only took place at 8 weeks. The main guy worked at the Copacabana. He was doing little dumb stuff for money, eating hot dogs and betting and gambling and things like that, man. It was about bettering yourself. So I think that for this to be my first movie review for 2019, it's perfect because this is a good time, January, for us to better ourselves. You could be better. Just like Doc Shirley told Tony Lip, you could be better. We can all be better, man. So you never win with violence. You only win when you maintain your dignity. So I want y'all to maintain your dignity. Leave the comments. Thumbs up this video. Your man AQUA gonna give you more. I got a mic. I got lights. I'm not setting it up today. But these other two reviews, we'll see how I give them to you. But I'll try to get you the best quality possible. Because I can be better. And so can you. That's all I got for today. Let's get it together. I give this film an A, man. Straight up. There's a couple white savior aspects in the film. I understand that, man. And I know why the family's mad. But as far as this film had a place in my heart from the first 10 minutes. And it never slowed down. I never got bored. I didn't want it to be over. I could not say goodbye to these two characters, man. It was wonderful. So if you want a feel-good movie that deals with real topics, it's a little fluffy. They didn't get too heavy into racism. They didn't come across the Ku Klux Klan or nothing like that, thank God. And maybe they never did in real life. But here's a man who took himself out of the sophistication of New York City and decided to go on a mission to expose people in the South in the 60s to a black man that was educated in music way beyond many of our years. And then you take an uneducated Italian American that's a brawler and you put him in this situation that where he doesn't even necessarily like black people. He only needed a job. He even runs into his Italian people. I don't know where they were. They weren't in Pittsburgh, which they called Titsburg, which is hilarious. But the Italian's like, "Why are you working for this guy, this eggplant for? We can get you a job working for me." And after a while, Tony didn't want the job working for them. He wanted to stay loyal to his friend. You know what I'm saying? And that was deep. And after that 8-week job was over, it was only 2 months before Christmas. After that job was over, these two men maintained their friendship for the rest of their lives. It just being cool, man. And the whole movie was cool, man. You're going to dig it. So check it out. Let me know what you think. If you saw it already, You know, put your comments in the comment below. Let me know if I'm spot on. I give it that Aqua A. And that's all we got for today, man. Till next time. I'm just a fool, enjoying what's going on. And but I can get it. I can do better. So I'm trying to get it. You trying to get it. Let's get it together. Peace.